You're a very lucky girl, do you know that? Where I come from, we don't show mercy to criminals. Where I come from, if someone like you attacked a little lord, at low tide we'd lay you on your back, on the beach. Your hands and feet chained to 4 stakes. The sea would come in closer and closer. You'd see death creeping towards you a few inches at a time.
Hi there. Wow. A lot of House of the Dragon spy photos just came out today. Big, important ones with our first looks at characters and at story points. In my immediately preceding video, which I made Monday night, I explained that we didn't know that they were coming back to Cornwall to film, and then we started seeing actors there, and based on the Velaryon flags and the army camps, and it's this rocky coast in Cornwall, we thought it was the war for the Stepstones, the proxy war that Daemon and Corlys fight against the Free Cities. This has been confirmed now. I'm making this Tuesday night. A lot of really specific things came out in the next 24 hours. And I'm going to split them up by topic to make them shorter individually. The first one is, this was stunning. They have this large-scale set piece of dozens of men staked to the beach at low tide so that they'll drown at high tide. And some of these men have been there for a while, so their corpses are rotting. Obviously, these are dummy corpses that have been set up. Some of them are live actors because they're recent ones. Some of them are corpses that are rotting away. This is pretty graphic stuff. And this is a direct point from the Fire and Blood prequel book. This is from the start of the war in the Stepstones. What happened is the Stepstones are this rocky island chain in the narrow sea that it's between Westeros and the Free Cities. In and of themselves, they're nothing. They're rocks. But they command the shipping lanes into and out of the narrow sea. So they've always been the home to pirate dens. Maybe the Valyrians managed to control these, but House of the Dragon is about 2 centuries after Valyria collapsed, and since then, the Stepstones are just overrun with pirates. There is no government. It's just the island chain that belongs to the pirates and the different pirate clans. It says in the books that this got so bad that eventually 3 of the Free Cities in the south, Myr, Lys, and Tyrosh, allied together into one big government called the Triarchy, the Kingdom of the Three Daughters, and they expanded westward to wipe out the pirates, and they conquered the Stepstones, and at first Westeros welcomed this as, hooray, the pirates are gone. Then the Kingdom of the Three Daughters just started taxing every ship that passed through the Stepstones forcibly, and eventually they realized we're paying as much, if not more, than we were when the pirates were around. So because this was interfering with shipping on the East Coast, and the Velaryons are the biggest fleet on the East Coast of Westeros, Corlys Velaryon decided to launch a proxy war against all of, it's not even the Free Cities' main armies, it's like pirates and mercenaries who they've hired as mercenary armies to fight this proxy war in the Stepstones. And young Daemon Targaryen takes his dragon Caraxes with him to help, to seek his fortune. They don't have a big army, but they have a dragon with them. And he's carving out this pirate kingdom in these pirate islands. One of the first acts of this war, when the Free Cities originally moved in to crush all the pirate dens there, was when they massacred all the pirates that they captured in their campaign. Let me give the direct quote. The Three Daughters had turned their gaze westward, sweeping over the Stepstones with their combined armies and fleets, under the command of the Myrish Prince Admiral Craghas Drahar, who earned the sobriquet Craghas Crabfeeder when he staked out hundreds of captured pirates on the wet sands to drown beneath the rising tide. So this scene we have very clear, high-quality screenshots of. This is a specific scene. We know what it is from the books. It's the crab feeder scene, where they stake out pirates at low tide to die. This is a specific scene. This is the opening of that. And beyond just recognizing an interesting scene, we're really surprised that they are doing this as a big set piece with actors and dummies. I mean, going through the spy photos, I thought they were just going to do this with CGI or like one guy staked out and say, we did this to hundreds of guys. There's hundreds of people on this set. There's dozens of people staked. I mean, they're going to digitally double it up. This is a major, large-scale set piece of the opening of the war, the Stepstones, when they feed all the pirates to the crabs at low tide. The implication of this, that you would treat this as a big set piece, they're not rushing to get to the Dance of the Dragons. We didn't want them to. We didn't want them to rush this like the later seasons of Game of Thrones. We want them to take their sweet time setting up all these characters. That I don't think the Dance of the Dragons, the actual Civil War, will start until either the end of Season 2 or the beginning of Season 3. I increasingly think this. At the very least, you will not see that in Season 1. We were always pretty sure of that Season 1 will be dominated by the storyline of the war in the Stepstones. If you've actually sat down and read the prequel novellas, if someone said, oh, the Civil War doesn't begin until Season 2 or 3, then you go, well, what action would we see? Just a lot of talking in Season 1? There are localized proxy wars and conflicts which would make up the bulk of the action in Season 1. This is the battle storyline, that they're fighting a proxy war in their version of the Caribbean, the Stepstones. You would see dragon action because Daemon takes his dragon Caraxes there and he attacks ships and pirates and stuff. So this is not just a cool image, but new information that we didn't think they were going to give this much primary focus to the pirate wars, to the wars in the Stepstones. And it's actually going to be quite a big part of it. I'm very happy about that. It means they're not rushing it or treating it as an afterthought. Apart from seeing all these pirates staked out at low tide, we also got really high-quality shots of these mercenaries from the free cities, the mercenary armies. Well, most armies from the free cities are free companies, from the free cities. I wonder if we'd see the Second Sons in some capacity. They are one of the older ones. They were around at the time. But I'm zooming in now. Take a look at these costumes. These are mercenaries, hodgepodge mercenaries from the free cities. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be from specific ones. Like, I guess the costumers will have to tell me about that. But are some of these supposed to be, this is what Mirish soldiers look like, or are they just supposed to be like when we saw the Second Sons and they're just mercenaries that are wearing a hodgepodge of armor? It looks relatively uniform for the Triarchy. Some of them were wearing reds, some of them yellows. I'm not sure if that distinguishes anything, but this was a huge battle scene that they were filming on top of that. Not just the part where they staked out the captured pirates and drowned them. There was this huge battle scene with shipwrecks, and there were smoke machines going off. And another thing we managed to get spy photos of is the prop corpse piles. These huge corpse piles for a big action scene. If you saw the behind-the-scenes photos on Game of Thrones Season 8, they explained that when they were doing the Winterfell stuff. They explained, we realized it was so time-consuming to set dress one dummy corpse. We innovated that we'd set up a pile of dummy corpses, like 4 or 5 guys, 4 or 5 dummies, set dress them with all the fake costumes and blood and the injuries and stuff, and then cart it out as a unit. That this is one thing you can just carry, a prefab. You can carry it out really quickly. And we have these really high-quality spy photos of some of the prefabricated corpse piles that are now stacked like cordwood because they haven't set them up yet. Their armor is different from those mercenaries, but I'm not sure if they're from the Free Cities or from some other group. They don't look like the Velaryon armor that we saw in other spy photos. But they're dirty. It's hard to see exactly because they're in a pile like that. So the big news from this is these are the big action sequences that will be in Season 1. They are filming now. They're not going to skimp on action. It's not going to be like Game of Thrones Season 1 where they didn't have a lot of budget, so the battles happened off-screen or were like skirmishes and not... Even if the Dance of the Dragons isn't in Season 1, the fighting over the Stepstones will be major action set pieces in Season 1. And looking at the scale of this, and this isn't even an action scene, just the crab feeder scene where they staked out all the pirates and let them drown. And that it wasn't just, I always mentally picture them maybe doing that as one guy, that it was a beach full of pirates staked out at low tide, and the scale of that was very impressive. Beyond this, we also saw some armor designs, the Targaryens, and even some specific characters. I'm going to split that off into its own video.